Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast, the self-publishing podcast for authors. You're in the right place for the best writing, marketing, and publishing advice, plus interviews with industry experts and best-selling authors. I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Wendy Vella.
And I'm Trudy J. Hello.
Hello, hello,
Yeah,
Hello. We
only
don't,
three of us today.
only three. We're missing the
Yeah,
lovely Shah.
yes.
Um, and no guest. But that's exciting because now you're going to get three genius pieces of brain
Wisdom and information just flowing from us.
Well,
flowing
we've been
out.
thinking, which is always a dangerous thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a problem. It's a
Because
problem
it
we're
is an
trying to,
effort,
yeah.
let's be honest.
Anyway,
Anyway, we're going to
today,
share some advice, aren't we,
yes,
Trudy?
yes, today we're going to talk about making the most of your backlist.
Yeah,
And so backlist is basically front list is the latest book that you've put out,
yeah.
the latest thing. Everything else could be considered backlist, basically.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and backlist is a gold mine of income, basically. So
Yes.
what we want you to do
Often
as an
untapped.
untapped, yeah, like so,
Yeah.
so people sort of maybe concentrate on advertising their latest book and they keep, that treadmill going and, writing and publishing the next book and advertising the latest book. But actually, we're here to tell you that backlist is something you should be focusing on as well. And I know, oh my gosh, it's just another thing to do, but actually your backlist can be um
A
It's a big
lifesaver.
earner,
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
it's it's something that will keep earning for you. I
Yeah.
think the thing is we're all guilty of putting up our books and worrying about that relevant series or,
Yeah.
but if you go back and read some of your reviews and that you go, oh, well, that's actually not a bad book. Maybe I need to
Yeah.
give that a bit more love, you
Mm,
know.
yeah.
And there are many, many things that can help you with that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. So, and sometimes we think, oh, I've put out the book, I gave it all my love, and it got all the
Mm.
readers, and that's it. Those are all the readers who are interested in my book. And it's about rethinking that and going, actually, there's that subset of readers that are maybe following me,
Yes.
and reading those latest books as they come out. But there's probably a massive subset of authors or readers, sorry, who are out there waiting to find your books. You think
They
about
just have
so
no idea.
yeah, they just don't know you're out there. So a little bit of marketing and advertising push put into that backlist, showing it a bit of love will, it's where a lot of authors make their, some would even say the bulk of their income, right? Like,
Absolutely. And I mean, we
yeah,
were just we
yeah,
were just discussing this before about how some authors actually take a year off for
mm,
various reasons, and
Mhm.
they still earn money because they're still
Mhm.
promoting and advertising and zhuzhing their backlist. And
yeah,
the thing is, like, I mean, Sharon, we've all got quite big backlists. I think I've got like, I don't know, 70 plus books now. And it is an effort to go back in and look at it all, but just a little tweaks can make a huge difference to make it
mm,
more relevant again.
And
yeah,
and I think if you're thinking about work, why would you be taking time off work? Well, life actually, and we've all experienced this, especially in the last year or so.
Yeah.
And so yes, you want to get a new book out, and you want to get a new book out as often as you can, but sometimes actually you can't, and you shouldn't for, like I said, a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But like health can affect us at any stage.
mm,
But if you have I think the best way for me to explain it is if you had a folder with your books in each book and you had some excerpts in there or like the first chapter or something like that, just a little file with these things in, that when it comes time to not work so hard, the bit of work that you would have to put in to promoting your backlist isn't as onerous,
Yeah.
and it certainly can get you through a long time, the
Mm,
more books you have, but you can utilize it if you don't have many books as well,
mm.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good first point, Cher, is
Mm,
setting things up so that when you do come to promote your backlist, it's a
mm,
lot easier, having systems and processes in
yeah.
place. So you're not like me, don't do as Trudy does. And every time she does something on her backlist, has to search through and try and find excerpts and look for a
Yeah.
teaser because she doesn't know where she put the last lot that she did the last time she did this thing and makes up new blurbs, short blurbs for when she's trying to, because she can't find the other
Go
Yeah.
blurb.
down a
Do
rabbit
like Cheryl
hole.
does and have
Yeah.
little folders on your desktop for every series and make sure that you know where they are and are easy
And
accessible.
I think it's really important to note too that, like, in the case of me and Cher and possibly Trude, when we wrote those books,
Mhm.
the chapters were too big or
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
there was it doesn't hurt to go back and tweak. And so I'm got my first original series at the moment that I'm rereading. And while I'm reading it, I'm like, my eyes are crossing and I'm thinking, what was I thinking here? But it's actually, you read the reviews, they're great. So
Yes.
what
Yeah.
it's just a simple matter of making sure point of views and chapters
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tidying and shortening the blurbs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And tidying up the metadata or the, what's back and front matter, stuff like that. Um, while it can be onerous, it can actually make a massive
Mm,
change because new readers coming to you will
Yeah.
probably go through all your books and they'll get to those,
Yes.
yeah.
you know.
And
And that's
also, when we're talking about the metadata, that can be key as well as in keywords,
Yep.
because if you change up, not a lot, but maybe one or two of them, you will find that book will go to different readers, completely different readers. And you could also do that in your categories. You could try not a category that your book does not fit in, but a category that it could fit in. Like we're talking about um, with my cozy mysteries, they could also be classed now, because there is a place for it, as paranormal women's fiction. You
Mm.
see where I'm going with
Yeah,
that? So
absolutely.
you can try the different
Because there are
things.
new categories.
Yes,
mm.
yes. Therefore, new readers.
And
It's
That's
one
what.
like
and ghost
tropes, right?
categories apparently that used to be categories and are no longer categories. So get
Yes.
yourself out of those ones, I guess. And
Yeah, is your book sitting in that?
mm,
In,
You
in
see,
that
I've just
no man's
recently
land?
gone in and put underneath the we're very trope heavy now. We like
Yes,
tropes. They're a
yes,
huge part of when we read.
yeah,
If you love an enemy, love the read.
especially
So what
in
I've gone in,
romance,
yes,
yeah.
specifically in
yes,
So
romance.
what I've done is I've gone slowly going in, starting from the front to the back at the bottom of the blurbs. I've been tightening the blurbs. Then I'm just putting tropes, what you'll find in this book. And I put them
yes,
straight underneath the blurb. And so that means that when people are reading down, they can see it at the bottom. They go, oh,
yeah,
because if we're honest, people's attention span is less and they just read a little bit. And then if it catches in, they're away. It's not like the old days where we would read a chapter or go through the book or whatever.
mm,
But now it's like there has to be an instant grab, an instant gratification.
Mm.
And that's
And
why I always put those tropes in there.
it also shows the changes in readers as well. This is what I like. Back in the day, a reader would never have known all the tropes, but
no,
now they know the
yeah,
ones they know that they know
yeah,
that they're a trope and they know what they are and they know what they're looking for and it gets talked about on the social media platforms. And
yeah,
so that actually makes a lot of sense, right? Like adding in the
Mm.
specific tropes because it's how they understand it. 20 years ago, it would have made no sense to add those in because people were going,
No.
what does that even
Oh,
mean? You know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
a lot of authors are actually putting it, Wendy's saying she's putting hers at the end of her blurb. A lot of people are putting it actually in the hook,
Yeah.
Mm.
right in the top. So it hits you smack when you,
I
Or
will
even
quite
in the
often do a
subtitle.
one-liner now. I'll
mm,
do a
This,
one-liner before the blurb and it'll say, this friends to lovers, rah, 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 or whatever, as
mm,
well as doing it at the bottom. It's just, yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
And the
Yeah.
subtitle, like a small town
Yeah.
romance or whatever.
Mm,
So there's
yeah.
all sorts of places that you can add or think about adding more information or changing the
Got to load those
metadata.
bad boys up. The more the
Yeah.
better, you
And
know?
and also actually what we're talking about is another point, is that keeping abreast of kind of changes in the way things are done and the expectations of the readers. Because when you first put those books up, it might
mm,
have been one way, like there may be longer blurbs or written in first person versus third person or whatever.
yeah,
And now the current tropes or the current expectations of those blurbs might be completely different in your genre. Like
Yeah.
just keep an eye out and just keep a
Yep.
yeah, you just keep an eye on the blurbs and the way things have been done by the best-selling books and indie books. Don't look at
mm.
trad in your genre and just make sure that you're kind of or it might just give you something to go back in and update on your backlist. Um,
Can I just mention a tip here? I think I have before, but it was something that I heard about and seems to be working for me is with Google Play, is when you put the title in your book, you put a semicolon and then you put the subtitle, um, and you don't put anything in the subtitle. So it's all in the one box. And apparently that's great SEO. And yeah, I think it's working for me.
Mm,
yeah, I have that too. So
mm,
that's definitely the way I've been told to do it. So
Mm.
mm.
got to do what you're
Yay.
told, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's always something new, eh?
yeah, so that's setting up your, so this is not even, we haven't even gotten to any kind of marketing or
Not
advertising.
really.
So this is just
Yeah.
thinking about how the blurb is set up, making sure that that's accurate.
Mm.
Keywords, categories can be changed, a new cover. could be something that you can look at, like just to zhuzh it up, just to kind of make sure that it's still relevant in the marketplace. Like if, especially if the book's older than 2 years, that's always a good thing. And then considering new prices. So this is something we have definitely talked about in the spa before, but you know, if
Yeah.
your book has always been at 2.99, consider putting it up to 6.99 because that's
Mm.
actually a whole nother marketplace. And
Mm.
and there's a and even if your book is 6.99, think about putting it down to you know like swapping
Yeah.
out the prices. And I was horrified when I first heard that, and I was like, oh no, I can't do that because readers will be upset if I
Mm.
put it up at a different price than what they're.
Yeah.
Turns out, no, that's not the case because who of us goes back to check the price of the
Yeah.
book that we
Could
bought
I have
back
got a better
then?
deal?
Yeah,
I
like
mean, you
no
might,
one.
if you've got long-term readers, I've had a little bit of pushback on some of them, but that's
Yeah.
just from old readers
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
have been
but
with me for
it's
years, not the
yeah,
new ones,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
And is it because you're putting up the prices of the books just in general? So they've been buying them for years and the
Yeah.
latest
That's a
books are
different story, isn't
that's
it?
a different thing. But
But
this is
but I
like
don't know.
different readers and different genre like some readers will never ever purchase a 2.99 book because they think it's too cheap and there must be something wrong with it. And they will
Yeah.
only ever purchase the 6.99 book. And vice versa. Some people will only purchase the
Yeah. I'm
2.99
not going
book
to spend
because
that much
that's
when I can
yeah.
get a book for,
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to spend all that money when there's other books out, you know? So it's
Mm.
actually different market in a lot of ways. So don't think of it as messing with, yeah,
yeah.
whatnot. You're a different
I
market
think
and you can,
pricing wide is different from pricing with Amazon too, can be.
Yes, yes.
People
But I
have the
also
perception of
think
paying
too
more when
that
they're on
the
the
more
bargain
books you
list.
have in a series, right, you as you get along, you the prices are higher, right? Because the first one you're usually going to give away a bit cheaper most of the time. But as you get further down, the difference could be $2 or $3. But so when you're looking at a price promotion for your backlist, that's great because you're going to give them like a 50% discount. And
mm,
like you can't say too much about that because people love it, don't they? If they
mm,
can, even if it's like book six, um, in the series, they're going to get it 50% off and it's a 6.99 book. That's a good deal, isn't it?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So,
So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
any of those kinds of things. And so what are some of the things? So if we're going to start pushing them out there, so we've made any changes that we need to the metadata and the cover
mm,
and all those kinds of things, which by themselves could actually push and promote the books,
mhm.
and get you a little bit of a boost. But then if we're going to actually start pushing some things out there onto social media, so we can push it on social media, we can use our newsletter list, and we can use paid promotions or paid advertising. So if we just think about free stuff to start with, like the social media and the newsletter, what kind of stuff are you putting out there? Like what would you put to promote backlists? Are you every time you send a
Definitely.
newsletter?
Definitely a bonus epilogue because that's the cheapest and the quickest thing to do. But also, do you have a prequel for the series?
Mm.
And you can start them right at the beginning and bring them right through.
Yeah.
You
Mm.
know, people love freebies, but also just snippets, just an excerpt, just like a great hook that's in that book,
Are you sending it to your newsletter or is this on social media or both or
or both. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Because to me, if you're doing one thing, you may as well do the other at the same
Mm.
time.
Mm.
That's the
But
thing
if
with
you
social media,
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
creating um,
you know.
a graphic for your newsletter, definitely put it on
Mm.
social media. And
Yeah.
I mean, that just saves you time. To me,
And
that's
if you do
kind of like a
TikTok,
no-brainer.
excerpts
Yeah. Mm.
are the way to
Everything.
go,
And
aren't
there's
they?
actually
And
other
reels.
platforms where you can say put something up on TikTok and then take that file that you've put on TikTok and it will put automatically it out on all the other platforms for you, like
Yeah.
every other
Yeah.
platform you can possibly imagine. So you
Yeah.
don't even it's not even a huge amount of work. You can just do it on one platform and then it goes to everywhere else
And you
automatically.
can go
It's
into TikTok and create a reel and not even post it and just put it as
Mm.
your own personal thing and then download it. And then you can get rid of the watermark through places like CapCut. There are
mm,
places that do that and you can use that
Mm.
as reels. There's so many options out there now, but if that just bogs you down, you can just go into somewhere like Canva or somewhere like that and create them. But I think for me, at the moment, reels seem to be killing it. They just do
Mm.
very, very well. I think it's an attention span thing. I think people don't want to scroll. They just want to
Mm.
watch what's on and then they're away. And we
mm,
Yeah.
use those everywhere. We use them TikTok, we use them Facebook, we use them on Insta.
Mm.
mm. And then they can be backlist books. It doesn't always have to be your
Yeah.
front-facing book. You
Yeah.
could be doing some awesome teaser reels for backlists and stuff like that. So we've got teasers as in like it could be a static image with a
Mm.
quote or something like that. It could be a
Yeah.
review. It could be some,
Yes.
we have awesome reviews of our
Yeah.
books out there. Pull them up and put them on the socials, like,
Yeah.
and then with the links where you
And the thing
can.
is, if you've got something like Canva, you can go into Canva and you can go and just look at all of their their
Templates.
images that are already pre-done, and
Mm,
all you got to do is just put your graphic in or put your words in or put, if you're not good at that sort of creation
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
you
And
can
BookBrush, you can
look
create
at their
little
mock-ups. Yeah.
animated ones. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And the thing about Canva Book Rush, any of that, they have these things called mock-ups, and they're just done, and you just go
Yeah.
in and just add music to them,
Yeah. If you're
emoji.
not creative, that's to me, that's the best way to
Yeah,
go. Those two
absolutely.
platforms in
Yep.
particular.
Yep.
yeah, just using the
Sure.
templates. It's good.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. And free first chapters, epilogues. Is there other, like, do you do like quotes, like the shorter ones as well, or is a longer thing better? And are you sending people to your website for like the bonus epilogue if you're putting that up on a social media platform, or do you just
Um,
put the
well,
whole thing in the
I
text?
was told not to have the bonus epilogues up on the website because you're
Mm,
detracting from, the whole sales pitch there. But you can definitely have it up on on your Facebook pages and send it in your newsletter, you know?
So I'm the opposite to share.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have all my bonus epilogues up on my website, but only because I was getting so many emails from my older readers going, I don't know how to download it.
yeah,
Um,
But it's not like a
so
front-facing page. It's just like a link that
no,
you send them.
it's
It's
just
like
a link.
a
Yeah,
secret page or whatever. Yeah.
it's just there
No,
on the web. No,
Oh,
I
it's
don't
on the
think yours
website.
is a secret
Bonus.
page, is it?
Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
still get a lot of people download
But
them.
you're still offering for
Mm.
the bonus epilogues at the back of the book and getting people signing
Absolutely.
up
And
to your
that's
newsletter.
Yes.
for the
So it doesn't
majority.
detract from
Yeah.
that at all.
No.
No.
I just, like I say, I do it for the people that have no clue on how to download a bonus epilogue.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems easier to me to do it on a website. I've never heard that it's not so
Yeah,
good
but
to
the
have it
thing
on
is,
there.
you want them to sign up for the newsletter. That's why you don't want
Yeah.
them to just go to the bonus that's website and read
Mm.
them.
And I
That's
will
what it's
say
about.
that my bonus epilogue is delivered through BookFunnel.
Yeah, same.
Mm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I would not be without BookFunnel. I really
No,
Yeah.
wouldn't because
best
Yeah.
thing in the world.
you can send so much through there. But bonus epilogues really, really work for that.
Yeah, they
Mm.
do. And
Yeah.
like first chapter,
Yeah.
if you're writing, if
First,
you want to put
yeah.
a first chapter out and you can put it into book funnel and you can send them the link and go, here, read this first chapter, see what you think,
Yes.
and boom,
Mm.
Yeah.
you
Away
know,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So these are all awesome ways to kind of promote. And then you have the link at the end of that bonus chapter or epilogue.
Mm.
Get the rest of the book or get the next book in their series. Make sure you've got those links there so people know where to go. Although, to be fair, TikTok proves to us, is it TikTok? I think it's TikTok, or is it Insta? The one that you can't link on. So but people still will just
TikTok,
go to
you
the
can't
platform
link
where
on
they
TikTok.
read and find
Yeah.
the book anyway. Like they don't necessarily need the link, but it does help,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not gonna
Yeah,
hurt it
if they
putting
want
a
to
link
find
where
you,
you,
they will.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, all right. So any other sort of bundling was the other thing. So you talked
Yes.
about
But
that.
bundling is huge, I
Mm.
think. Yeah.
So what do you
Soon as
do?
you get soon as you get three in a series and the books have been out for a little while, you definitely make a bundle of three. But um, I've actually got one bundle so far, and I will do more as first in series. Like they're not they're not connected in that it's a series that goes on and on and on.
Yeah,
It's a book from this series, a book from that series, a
yeah,
book from that, but they're in a similar flavor.
Mm.
I have culinary coziness mysteries and I have paranormal, so I wouldn't mix up the two.
Yeah, that's
But
good
Wendy
advice.
had a good one too with tropes, didn't you? Making
yeah.
up bundles with tropes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like an enemies to lovers, and it's quite good for newsletters too. Like
Mm.
each month you can change it up and go, this month there's an enemies to lovers bundle, or this month there's a whatever. And if you're selling off your website, which I am with my contemporaries, you can
Yeah.
go in there and put an enemies to lovers bundle or a whatever, and then that gets them started reading something. Obviously, they have to be standalone for it to be if it's the third book in the series and the first book, but
Yeah.
standalone series books was what I write. I don't write continual series,
Yeah.
like with the continuity having to read one and then on to the next. So it works for me.
Yeah.
Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, best, all those sort of things.
Mm.
Mm.
Um, Brother's best friend, there's so many tropes. And the thing is about tropes, even if you're writing historical romance or anything, tropes, people still want to know what the trope is.
Mm.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what sells a book for me nowadays, I reckon, is tropes. the tropier my books are at the moment, the easier they are to promote because you can go, oh, this is a. Whereas my older books, which when I wasn't even thinking about tropes,
Mm.
they're not quite as heavy, you know,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. It's how we think about them these days. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
interesting. Um, so we only quickly talked about newsletter, but I think the newsletter, um, so there's two things there. There was direct sales, which we should probably talk about, but also
Mhm.
newsletter. So newsletter is a great place for us to be selling our backlist, right? Like you can be
Oh, absolutely.
mentioning stuff all over the show, like this is, a spotlight on a particular book in a series or a spotlight on a character to draw people in or doing all
Mm.
sorts of different things. You can there obviously talk about the bonus epilogues and here's the bonus epilogue that I wrote for this series over here. And so that's why I think that newsletter is such an important thing for us. Like
Mm.
it's our thing that we own that we can be promoting. So
There's a couple of things in there too that when you talked about the characters, we could do character interviews, or we could rewrite a chapter in the point of view of
mm,
the other character. If
Yeah.
it's in the guy's point of view, you could change it up to the woman's. You're not
that's a
going to
good
use it
idea.
anywhere else. It's just, for
Yeah.
your readers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's all sorts of things that you can be doing. And then once you've done it once, don't feel like you can never repeat it, right? Because
No,
you can put it for A, you could use it in different places, but B, keep it in your backlist and in a
yeah.
year from now, put it out
I was just
again.
going to say about a year. Yeah,
Yeah, or
use it
even
again.
less. Like I think I'm sort of always assume that, oh no, people are going to remember, but not everyone is A going to read that
Yeah.
necessarily. And so someone else, you might catch someone else's eye who hasn't read it, and maybe someone who read it a while ago. I like rereading stuff. Like I'll
Mhm.
reread old books of mine all the time. So
Sometimes you
just
forget.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So just it's not harmful to remind people and just keep
yeah.
that going. So no content is ever wasted and no and it as long
Um,
as you keep it in Cheryl's nicely organized folders and files and don't just dump it in a big folder that's disorganized. You could reuse this stuff that you've prepared earlier. That's the beauty of it all, right? Um,
Yeah,
It
don't
is.
waste anything. Yeah.
And the
no,
thing is, I think we fall into the mindset that, oh, well, that's an old book. Everyone's got to have read it by now.
Mm.
they don't.
Yeah.
They haven't.
No, there's
No.
always
Yeah,
new readers
yeah.
coming of age where they want to start reading romance or whatever,
Yes. Yeah.
you know.
And do you
Oh,
do you save your outtakes?
Mhm.
Have your outtakes in
Deleted
another
scenes, you
file?
mean? Deleted
Yeah,
scenes?
deleted
Yeah.
scenes.
no,
Yeah.
because my
Yeah.
deleted scenes would not be readable.
No.
There's just no
Yeah, but you
way.
could zhuzh them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if
My
this ever
first drafts are pretty bad.
you could have a what if stuff, like what if this had never happened, or what
Yes.
if they'd done
Or
this
yeah,
instead? That'd be quite
Y-
funny.
or
Yeah.
you could do it like I used to, I haven't done one for a while. It's like, oh, did you know that when I first wrote this book, this character was going to be this one, or this one was going
Yeah.
to be
Ah,
that,
Yeah.
or this was going to be this name, or did you
yeah.
Yeah.
know that this was going to be the heroine, or I actually was going to have this in another town, or
Yeah.
she was actually going to be the villain,
Oh,
like
that's a good idea.
yeah, just telling them a little bit of a backstory about it. And,
Yeah.
like I've got one series that everyone loves who we won't name. And they'll quite often ask me questions about it. And I'm just like, sigh. Okay, well, they were da 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 da. Da,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like they want to know.
My favorite story about Roald Dahl was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, how there were 5 kids that went in. When he
Yeah.
first wrote that book, it was 25 kids.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
imagine? And you can imagine how unwieldy that would be. Like, if, now that we can
Wild.
see it as 5 kids, like, of course, that was the right number
Yeah.
Yes.
because 25 would have been crazy. But that was what he started out with. That's where he
Mm.
thought of it.
It,
So, and that's
it isn't it the
fascinating
process
to
of a
me as a
writer?
as a fan
Yeah.
of his. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Writing
Um,
yourself into the book. We're not all
yeah, yeah.
plotters.
So those are like keep those little stories. Maybe if you do have to kind of have a big stop and start and make big
Mm.
changes, write them down. Take a note of it.
Yeah.
Like just as something interesting that you can talk about later. Or
Yeah.
just
Mm.
I
remember it
think
if
the
you're
trouble
someone
is
who
we
remembers.
we're so busy racing on to the next book, aren't we? A lot of
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
But I think to take an hour or two to organize something like that in your file, it's going to save you so much time later on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even if you think about it and just go, okay, there's this book. Here's a bonus epilogue for it that I use from other books to go to this
Yeah.
one. Or here's the first chapter set up nicely in a vellum file that I can
Mm.
use. Or here's a list of 10 excerpts that I think are the best ones. Or here's a teasers. Here's a
Yeah.
here's a list of taglines that I can use on. Here's a 5 images that are the best images from when I first put them out or whatever. And just just do, like the same thing every file. That would be easy, right? Like just, it
Yep.
doesn't have to go crazy. It just has to be the main stuff, things
Write
that you
that down,
use.
people. That's gold.
Yeah. Gold, I say. Yeah. So, bonus episode. Yeah. So is there anything else that you do that's for free, like that kind of stuff or newsletter things or
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think, newsletter swaps, um,
yes. Oh,
still
yes.
promoting backlist.
Yes.
mm,
Hey, I've got this, maybe this month I've decided I'm going to promote this one series. That's an old series.
Mm.
I'm going to zhuzh it up a bit and then I'm going to go, the first book's free for 5 days or whatever. Second book's one. And then you can go through some newsletter swaps or get on some
Yeah.
Facebook groups and then obviously there's the promotion side of things like written word media series
which
promo.
we'll talk about in a
Okay.
second. Yeah.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
I jumped the
Yeah.
gun there.
Jumped, man. You
No,
jumped.
but that's another a good reason to have Book Funnel if you don't already have it, is
Mm,
that there are swaps in there that you can use anytime,
yeah.
as
Mm,
well as um, signing up to newsletter promotions that somebody else is running. Your book gets added to it. I do those depending on what genre I'm speaking about, trying to sell, is a couple a month for each
Mm,
one,
mm,
yeah.
you
yeah.
know.
And I've talked to
Um,
authors who, like, literally, that was the only thing they did that was different
yeah.
was pick a book every month or
Mhm.
a couple of series, whatever you pick, and just make sure that you promote one thing every month. And
Yeah.
whether it's a cross promotion with an author through Book Funnel or whether
Mhm.
it's a making sure that you're posting a whole bunch of social media stuff on that book or series or whatever, just or paid advertising, which we'll get onto.
Mhm.
But it's just making like having that focus, one per month in a
Yeah.
year and they like double and triple their income. Just and it
Yeah.
sounds really silly, but it's just that focus. It's just making sure that you're getting your books out there that
Yeah.
will help immensely. Don't forget about
I do
them.
a whole series a month.
Yeah, yeah.
And like in my social media, each
Mm,
week kind of focuses on one of the books
Mm.
mm,
in the series.
Yeah, that's a
So
good idea.
that's
I,
that's
I don't
it's
I don't have
promoting
enough
backlist.
books to do that, so I would probably
No,
usually do one per.
yeah,
Well, I mean, actually, I say that, but I wouldn't focus on the fifth book in a series or anything like that. So I guess maybe it is either the first book in the series or maybe
yeah,
I mean maybe you could if you like me and don't have as many books, it could be like a character in one of the books. Like maybe
yes,
you could do a month focusing on May and you could for me. And that would be, all the things about her and like
yeah,
trying to pick out the things trope heavy, like, like urban fantasy kick-ass heroine who's, out saving the world, whatever. Like find the
mm,
tropes and then talk about that character in that way if you haven't got as many books as Cheryl and Wendy have got to do a series kind of thing.
yeah.
Just be creative, right? Like that's what we do.
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
half the fun of what we do is just
I think it is
being
important just to
creative.
focus on a series and then go all in for a month on it, like just
And
Mm,
when I only had a few books, that's what I did. I just picked picked a book a month and did that.
yeah.
yeah.
But it doesn't have to be the first in the series.
Mm.
If you've got three books, every now and again, you just promote those other two.
Mm.
And I think
I
it,
promote my seventh in the series
Yeah,
sometimes,
yeah.
like
yeah,
and
yeah,
BookBarb especially. If I get a BookBarb, it doesn't really matter. I just cycle through all of them,
Mm.
yeah,
you know.
I need to get over that a little because my books are different. They do in fact carry on. But
mhm,
actually, when I'm promoting Backlist, there might be someone out there who's read the first two books. I
mm.
start promoting the third book, and they go, "Oh, that's right, you're there," and
Of
finish the
course,
series.
yeah,
So it doesn't hurt to kind of cycle through and do
I
whatever.
don't. I think we get hung up about things being cast in stone, and we have to do this because it's this and that.
yes,
That you
yeah,
got. The thing about this game is just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Like, and I
yeah,
don't mean. I mean, give it a shot, dig
yeah,
in. You know what I mean? I mean, insofar as if you're going to go all in on something, give it a really good shot. So,
Mm,
yeah, yeah,
first in series or third in series or whatever. Work it. Like
yeah,
I think we do get a little bit hung up on things that we've always done, whereas the world's changing now. It's a very
mm,
yes,
different environment. Social media has changed everything, and like you say, I think that trying other things is good, and that's
yeah.
definitely what
It
we
doesn't
do.
hurt to fail, but it doesn't,
No,
like if you never try,
if you
you're not
don't
gonna.
try it. And if you believe everything, if you believe
Mm,
yeah,
everything that you read, then you won't try other things. And because something didn't work for somebody else doesn't mean it won't work for you.
And we do hold
Exactly.
ourselves in that little box, right?
We
Like
do.
it's that, and I
Totally.
can't, it's an old saying, and I always come back to it is whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Like Henry
Yes,
Ford supposedly
exactly.
said that. And it's
It's
like, if you think it's not going to work and you don't try it, then, well, of course it's not going to work because you didn't
no,
try it, like
yeah.
leave your options
And
open, think a little bit outside the
Be a bit
box,
brave.
be a
yeah,
bit
You know,
brave,
like,
put yourself out there,
yeah.
I mean,
and
what's the worst that can happen?
Yes.
Really
exactly.
and
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah.
It's not going to be life altering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We're not,
it's
none of the
important.
suggestions that we've made are going to cost you lots of money or anything like
No,
that. Like
exactly.
we are going to talk in a minute about things that will cost you money, but these are
Yeah.
none of the things that we've talked about thus far are going to are huge money burners. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, just give it a go, man. Like
You poured a lot of love into those books when you wrote them too. So they are good books.
Yeah.
Read the
Yes.
reviews and see how good they are. And don't just
Yeah.
go, well, that book was published 5 years ago, so who's going to want it now?
mm,
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
actually not how it works.
I don't actually look at when a book was published. And,
Mm.
like obviously if a new book's come up, yes, then but sometimes people recommend something and it's been out for a long time.
I wouldn't
And
have a clue sometimes.
pardon?
I wouldn't have a clue sometimes when it's
Yeah.
made.
Yeah. And sometimes a book comes to life later on in its life,
Yeah.
doesn't it? It's,
mm,
We've heard that many times, haven't we?
talked about that before,
Where
haven't we?
authors have gone, their fifth book or their 10th book has rocketed them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes it's the book that people don't even think is their
Yeah.
best book that suddenly is the one that hits the
Yes.
market and does all
Yes.
the stuff. And yeah. And the one that they
Yep.
love is not the one that does anything.
Oh, the
Yeah.
irony.
I
Oh, the
know.
irony. I get a lot of people ask me which book I love the most.
Yeah.
And I've got a couple and they're never anyone's favorites.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It is
It is
I
funny.
find that
funny.
amusing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Knife to the heart, but also new
Yeah, no, but
amusing.
it could be a mindset thing, right? You might have
Yeah.
been in a really good space when you were writing it, or,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just, the memories of writing that book were good, you
Because
know?
let's face it, some books are easier to write than
Oh my
others.
Yeah.
gosh, some
Yeah.
books are a slog, right?
You have to
Yeah.
love them more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so now I think we can talk about the paid advertising, which is
Yes.
what everyone kind of pays attention to. And I mean, we do need to be doing some paid advertising in this day and age. But so
Yeah.
Facebook ads, it could be Facebook ads to maybe get more people on your newsletter so you can promote your
Yeah.
backlist, or it could just be straight old Facebook ads to a backlist book, sending them
Yeah.
to Amazon. Um, yeah, do you guys do any of
Stunning.
that or?
I think it's a generalization, not untrue, but a generalization that the first time you promote a book on any one particular platform will be the best it ever does. It's not always true, but it
Mm,
is often true. So you want to make the best of it. You want to make sure that everybody knows that this book is on sale, that it is available now. You must read it. It's great. Look at these reviews, whatever. You just got to make the best of it. And then keep all that information that you have for the next time you promote it.
mm.
And it may not do as well, but you can even tweak it to make it even better.
Mm. But I mean, it could be if you're someone who's launching at full price, and then you
Mhm.
save that 99-cent
Yeah,
sale for a year later or whatever.
yeah,
You know, that 99-cent sale could be amazing.
yeah.
Like it's
Hmm.
not, there's, or you could be doing some kind of like a bundle, like the bundles that we
Yeah,
talked about, advertising to a bundle that's
yeah,
just new, that offers
yeah.
something different that they've never kind of thought of. Like I like really like the idea of the enemies to lovers bundle or whatever,
Yes,
like that's going to appeal to me as a lover of enemies to lovers.
yeah,
And I might
Absolutely.
go pick it up in a way that I might not have picked up an individual book or whatever. So
And that opens you up to 3 new series
yes,
yeah,
if you write
yeah,
series, right?
yeah,
I mean, and I don't think you can get away from the fact that standalones a lot of people like because some people
hmm
don't like reading series.
yeah,
So
yeah,
there's that option as well.
mm,
You
yeah,
know, I think yeah, I'm a series writer, I always have been, but
yeah.
occasionally I think it might be nice to write a standalone. I think advertising standalones can be easier sometimes as
I
well.
know they do
I don't
say that
know.
it's harder actually
Doesn't
because
seem
Do
to
they?
be the
yeah.
general
Yeah.
thing
And I
now. But
think I think the thing with bundles, for example, is you charge more for them, so it's a little bit easier to make a
Yeah.
profit on them in terms of doing the ads
yeah,
because you don't have to make because it is a lean business in terms of if you're selling a whatever or it's a free first in series or
yeah,
2.99 first in whatever, or if it's a book on sale, you kind of don't, I mean, and it is kind of going to be about read through rather than making a ROI, like a profit off that first book, especially if it's free or on sale. But yeah, it's easier to make a profit because you can have yeah, the cost per
Oh,
click can be higher, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, for
yeah.
something that costs more. Do you know, like people out
Yes.
there advertising and it's like $100 course or a $500
Yes.
course. They can, whereas we are trying to sell something that's at quite a low price point.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
have to
It's
keep our
hard
cost per
to,
click
Yeah.
and
yes.
and conversion rates high and all this kind of
I
stuff.
mean,
So
I think you got to know what you're doing with Facebook ads. That's for sure.
mm,
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
point in
mm,
just getting in there and just hurling them up there and hoping for the best. But
yeah.
there's Amazon ads too. But I mean, I started out my career, we didn't have any of that, and I just used to do the email newsletter signups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Mm,
I still think that they can work.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
I
mean, I
think
don't
you can
do
switch
Amazon
up the
ads.
prices of any of those sale items. So
Mm,
especially like with a bundle. So when you're first putting up a bundle, you just might want to make it look like the prices for two books, but they're going to get three. So that's a
Mm,
great deal. And
yeah.
then further down the track, you might sell the whole thing for 50% off, or um, occasionally, much further down the track, you might want to put it up on a 99-cent sale for all
mm,
three books.
yeah.
But it depends where you are in your journey and how
Yeah.
much you need to make,
Yep.
Mm,
because you need to make enough to cover your costs at least, even if you're not making a huge profit when you first start out. Yeah.
mm, yeah. And sometimes I think it's that kind of stuff. It's about discoverability and getting it and you're like if it's a first book and series kind of bundle that you're getting out to
Yeah.
as many places as possible. Well, the
Yeah.
idea is that you're drawing them into your series and that they're going
Yes.
to read more books in your series. And so
Yes.
you don't necessarily always have to, I mean, you probably don't want to lose lots of money, but like you don't have to make as much money on that original one because I mean, maybe it's about knowing what the point of your promotion is. Like if the point
Yes.
of this particular promotion is to make lots of money, then you would make different decisions, right? Than if you were
Yeah.
just doing it as a promotional, ongoing part of
Yeah.
your promotional thing. So
Well, I see people putting up
discoverability.
box sets with 10 books in it, and
Mm,
that just freaks me out completely. What I have done with some of my series is I put three books in a box set. And,
mm,
in those particular series, they're a decent length. So that is is always a good value if I'm giving away three books for the price of two. But then I'll have book four, five, and six in another book bundle.
mm,
Mm.
And that is my backlist, and that can do really well.
mm.
I think it's a
You
difference.
know.
Like, so for example, Kobo,
Mm,
that's a very common thing to have those
yes.
massive bundles, but they don't like on Amazon if it's over 9.99 they you only get 30%,
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 cents,
Yeah.
30%, whatever it is,
Yeah.
Mm,
versus 70% if you're under that price. So they kind
Mm.
of like they don't want you to have things that are
not on
costing too
Amazon,
much.
no. But
Versus
on your
Kobo
website.
will let
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
price it at
Mm,
$50
Yeah.
for 50 books or whatever you want to. And so those are kind of more popular. And maybe if you're advertising on Facebook and sending them to the Kobo store where you've got this massive bundle and people are buying it, that could be worth
Mm.
it. And I personally haven't done it but I have definitely heard of people doing it and being successful with that. So
mm.
yeah, it's another
Each
option.
store's different, right?
Mm,
Yes.
Yeah, they really are. Amazon, you got those whale readers who just come in and they just want to read and cheapest
Yeah.
price and rah, 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 and they got KU. Whereas I think there is a perception that people will pay more on other
On the
sites.
other platforms.
Yeah, yeah.
mm,
That people will even go to my store
Mm,
and pay a higher price,
yeah.
which I love.
Mm,
Thank you very much, everybody. Um, but on my store, I can put those bundles up, and I
yeah,
will put up the whole series
yeah.
50% off.
mm,
Mm,
That is still a good amount
yeah.
because they're at a higher price,
yeah.
generally speaking. Like the first book is never free or
Mm,
99 cents,
Mm,
yeah.
or 2.99 or 3.99 or sometimes 4.99.
Yeah.
But I never have those lower prices because they encourage scammers to come onto your site. So yeah, putting a book bundle up, they're definitely getting a good deal,
Mm,
mm,
50% off.
yeah.
That's my bundle of the month. So it's not like that every month.
So clarify something for me with wide,
Mm,
because I forget how it is. Because I remember back in the day we used to say, oh, higher prices on Apple and
yeah.
lower prices on Amazon and stuff. And then when I went wide, it was against the terms of service to have different prices on the different platforms. Is that just for
Yeah.
print or is it for ebook as well?
It is for ebook as well, but the thing is they don't care about your store.
no.
They
Mm,
only care about the platforms.
Yeah, that
yeah.
doesn't
So,
factor.
and I mean, I do promos through Kobo and do not adjust the price on Amazon.
Mm,
I don't
Kobo
because
don't seem to bite like Amazon would if
it,
it was the
it,
other way around.
mm,
Amazon doesn't seem to be phased with that. They're just
mm,
doing their own thing. And the
Yeah.
same with Google Play.
Mm.
Google Play, you can put up bundles, and the more books they buy, they can get a percentage off.
Yeah.
mm. Yeah,
So, if they buy all four books, they might get 20% off.
Mm.
They buy
yeah,
a couple, they
That's
might get
quite
10.
cool, actually.
those are
Yeah,
good.
and if you're not doing that, do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely
That's
do
another
that.
good tip. Good
Yeah.
tips from Cheryl this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, see, you see, Wendy and I are different beasts because I focus on things like that. Wendy does advertising with Facebook and that, and Amazon. I don't know if you still do Amazon, do you? No.
no.
A little bit, not
I,
too much,
I
mainly
I
Facebook.
don't do any of that. I sometimes have a bit on Amazon, and every now and again I have a flutter with BookBub. But you see, that's that's my weak spot, and
Mm.
Mm,
so
Yeah, I spend a lot of money on Facebook ads.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't. So
mm.
I
So
can't
actually, you
I
brought
can't
something
do
up
it.
which we haven't talked about. Also, is like written word media, that BookBub,
Love written word media.
um, Fussy
Yep.
Librarian, all
Yeah,
those
So
newsletter
many of them.
promos.
Red Feather Romance.
yeah,
Mm,
There's so many of them. And of course you've got David Cochran's he comes out with a list, doesn't he, every
yes,
year.
yes.
And it's 2026 he'll have updated all promo sites.
Paid and unpaid, paid and
Paid and
unpaid sites.
unpaid,
Yep,
yeah, and it's great. And you can go in and he'll put a little thing as the this site's great for this reason or whatever. It's really
mm,
yeah,
worth getting that.
yeah.
Just
And
you
you'll
just
you'll
Google it, you'll find it.
if you look back through our previous
Mm,
podcasts, you'll find podcasts with him,
mm,
and there will be a link in there for that. Yeah,
mm, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, and
It's
then
really like
there's
you've got to work your budget out, and
yes,
there is a lot of stuff you can do for free.
mm,
And by that I mean is tweaking those books with covers and blurbs and
yeah,
stuff. It's all
mm,
of that stuff. People
yeah,
come across your book on Amazon and they go, "Oh, that reads well,"
mm.
yeah,
I mean,
It
even
looks,
just the thought of, I mean, okay, maybe cover's not free to change, but the one cover might not appeal to a person, and yet they see the other cover, same book, and there's
yeah,
something different on it, and it appeals to them, and suddenly you've got
mm,
new readers coming into your series that weren't there
yeah,
before. So
yeah,
there's all
yeah,
just little changes can have a big effect. So don't just go, oh, that's book is done. That's the cover and that's the price and it will never change. Or those are my
yeah,
keywords and how could I possibly, think through all those kinds of things. They're all, I mean, that's the beauty of being indie and not in
yeah,
some kind of bureaucratic corporate structure where they can't make changes without 10
yeah,
people signing it off. Like
yeah,
we do it
we can
ourselves
do
and
what
we
we
can,
want, really.
yeah, do what we want. So, but I think maybe, as much as I hate this word, being consistent,
Mhm.
and like
You don't
going,
like that
okay,
word?
once a month, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do some kind of promo on some series, and just every month, just put some kind of little bit of effort into it, and not the first. We're not talking about front list. Do whatever you're going to do with
yeah,
front list and publishing those books. This is just the backlist, and just thinking
yeah,
about ways to promote and uplift those books, again. Yeah,
Don't
I
let
think
it
that's.
overwhelm you either, like if it is, just do an hour, sit down and do it, and then do some more the next day. It doesn't have to
yeah.
all be done in one
Mm.
day, like,
No,
Doesn't have to
yeah,
be
um,
perfect. Doesn't have to be the
no, it
best. Doesn't
doesn't
have
have
to
to be
be.
perfect.
Yeah.
Just little tweaks. Like my oldest series, I've just gone and had a play around with all of that and recovered and put in, rah, rah, rah. But there's
yeah,
still a lot more to do with that series because the chapters are like humongously. I don't know what I was thinking there.
and every now and again, well, I would say if you're putting up a new release in a series, go back and make sure that those links in the older books are live, that they're
Yeah.
working. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good thing too. Actually, that's I did a new cover. I just changed my name on my covers,
Mm. Yeah.
and I went and not I didn't just go um and put the new cover up. I went through and checked all my keywords, checked all my links, checked all the
yeah,
categories, updated the blurbs, and just did
yeah,
that for each series. And I just had a list, and I just checked each thing off that I'd done as I did it. And I'm just doing the print books now. And as I, like just making yeah, and don't forget the print books blurb as well. Like the blurbs are different
yes,
on ebooks versus print books. So if you update the ebook, go back into the print book as well. Even putting out a new, like if you don't have print books and you've just got ebooks, put out the print book of that book and oh look, make a splash, make it like a new release, even if it's not a new
yes,
release, or a hardcover or a
Mm.
special edition or something, as much as I had to mention special editions, but that was a whole new topic. But
yeah,
you can do
You
stuff
can do
like
special editions on Amazon too.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing
Make
to
it
remember. You
as
don't
a
have to
hardcover or
necessarily
something.
do them through Book Vault or
Yeah.
again,
Or
you know.
Kickstarter. I mean, you think about Kickstarter, a lot of those campaigns are to do special editions on old books. You
Mm,
know, it's another way of making money off your backlist or looking into translations or audio. You know, that's another way to make they're essentially backlist books that you could be making more money on. So it's yeah,
yeah.
it's these are all
Mm.
things that you can consider and think about. Um,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Very good.
Anything more? Anything more we have to add on our oh, I was going to say things
Okay.
out of the box kind of like okay, maybe it's not out of the box, but BookBub ads, which I have never been able to make work personally, but I do
Yeah.
hear tell of others who use them successfully. So
Are you talking
that could
about
be
the book,
something.
the ones you personally do, not the ones
Yeah,
they do
yeah, the
for you?
little
Oh,
ads,
okay.
not a
Yeah.
featured deal, but an ad that
Yeah.
you know, cost per click ad that you can put in.
Occasionally we do them when we've got a renew release.
Yeah, I've heard of they're good at launches, but I've met recently someone who said, "Oh no, I do them regularly and they're quite good." So it's
Yeah.
just a matter of kind of maybe figuring them out.
Yeah.
And don't come to us maybe if you want that to happen. Maybe we need to get this person on. I need to figure out who it was. Also, I heard of Pinterest ads. So
Yes, yes, I've heard of those. I haven't done them either.
yeah, so Pinterest ads are again someone I was talking to recently is doing Pinterest ads, and I don't think they're going to be the one that makes all the money and does everything for you, but just having your book covers up there and maybe just a few, you know, if you're doing teaser
Leave it
images
in the
on something, you know, on another platform, consider doing them on Pinterest as well. I heard a stat on the weekend. Don't know if this is definitely 100% true, so you know, I'm just reporting what I was told by a fairly good source, so I probably think she is right about this. She said that people go to Pinterest and it's something like I think she said 70 to 80% of people are going to Pinterest now with the idea of buying something rather than just to look at the pretty pictures, which is interesting to me. I wouldn't go to Pinterest to buy things,
No,
but that was the
no.
latest stat. And I do notice now when I go onto Pinterest, a lot of the stuff as you click on it, it's taking you to a website to buy something or do stuff like that. So it is definitely changed. So yeah. So it is something to think about. Like people are
Yeah.
going on that site with the expectation of purchasing something or to look up something they want to buy. And it might be they're looking up pretty shoes that they could choose and then they go buy the shoes off the website. So maybe books are the same. Just
Maybe we
I
something
could
think
to think
do
focus
that
about.
too.
just focus on what's working for you.
Yeah. But if you're someone who loves Pinterest, it could
Mm?
be a good way to just kind of
100%.
focus on the backlist
100%.
and an
Who's to
environment
say
that you
that's
really
not going
like.
to work? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, just a thought. Food
little
for
tip.
thought.
Mm.
Um,
Awesome.
so I feel like that's pretty good. We've done
Yeah,
our dash
yeah.
on backlist and what we do
Hope
and
nailed
what
it.
you could
It's in
possibly
there.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any thoughts or any other extra things that you have to say about that, feel free to contact, you know, put comments under our on the Facebook page
Yes,
or do
we'd love to
whatever.
hear what you do, your
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Um,
Mm.
otherwise, that is us, I think, for now.
Yeah, and you can
So
find us at Spa Girls Podcast everywhere and on Patreon. If you want to buy us a coffee, come along.
yeah. Actually,
Um,
Patreon is another idea for backlist. You could be doing stuff with your backlist on Patreon. So I was going to mention that earlier and I forgot about it. Yeah, so we are also there though. So thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Spa Girls podcast. We hope we've given you a few ideas, a few things to think about,
Yep,
and zhuzh up your backlist and things that you can do with it to make it
brilliant.
burst
Yeah,
forth again. Um,
yep.
we'll see you again next week with another episode, but for now, we're off. See you later.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Bye.